Hello, my name is Carrie Coonan, and I am the principal of Raynor Country Day School, and it's always a pleasure to introduce myself. We welcome you to the 2021-2022 school year. If the last 2 years have taught us anything, it's to be prepared to expect the unexpected. Tonight, we're going to showcase for you our digital open house for the upcoming school year. We know that the time and attention our staff have taken to preparing these digital presentations will be able to answer many of your questions, as well as help you understand the daily routines in the life of your child. Should you have any additional questions, please don't ever hesitate to reach out throughout the year. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you our very talented Raynor Country Day School staff.
Hi, welcome to third grade. How are you tonight? Welcome to our digital open house. Welcome to a little bit of a glimpse of our classroom. I am glad you can join us. I hope your child is having as much fun in third grade this year so far as I am. We have a great class, a great group of kids, and we are off and running. We've spent our first couple of weeks getting to know each other, getting to know some of the routines of third grade, and also doing some assessments. So as the year moves forward, we'll start getting into the nitty-gritty of school and learning. What I want to do is direct your attention to this packet. This packet was sent home today, so this will give you an up-to-date nitty-gritty of anything and everything you need to know about third grade. It talks about our daily schedule. It talks about our curriculum. It talks about kind of what a typical day would look like in third grade. It has some important information in here about testing dates and science fair information. Anything, my homework policy, anything and everything is really in this packet. But I'm just going to sit and walk through it with you. A couple of the important things I just want to call out. The first thing I do want to do is thank everybody who signed up for our Remind system. This is the main way that I'll communicate with you throughout the day. It's kind of like a text messaging app system. If I send you a message, if you want to reply to me, it's a personal reply. No one else is able to see it. If I send an announcement about what's going on in the class, you'll see fun things that we're working on or a little class update that we've been doing. If there's something I need to talk to you about personally, it will be through that personal connection there. So if you haven't signed up for that, make sure you do so you can get our updates and see some fun pictures about everything that we've been working on. All right, next thing, our daily schedule. This will tell you when your child needs sneakers for PE, when their instruments need to come in. Instruments are every other class session, so they split band and music. So if they had band on Monday, they'll have music on Wednesday and then band again on Friday, and then the following week it'll switch. So Mrs. Bartley does have a third grade band classroom, so make sure in Google Classroom, so make sure you're checking in if you have any questions on that. Typical day. What can you expect in third grade? Well, we try to get to as much as we can, starting with morning work as soon as we walk into the classroom. This way, I get a chance to look for homeworks, any notes, all that kind of fun stuff. We'll work on a little morning meeting. We'll talk about some mentor sentences, which is something that we're going to be doing as part of our ELA curriculum. We'll talk about grammar. We'll talk about what words mean in the sentence, where the nouns are, where the verbs are, what adjectives are, and what their job is. We'll also work on making our sentences more exciting and more interesting, so our readers really want to read more of our stories. We'll do some word work, which is our spelling. We will focus on Writer's Workshop. We'll have some lunch. We eat lunch outside. We have a nice, fun spot when it's nice and sunny on the patio, which is right off the bus loop. We'll stay there. And then if it's a little rainy out or inclement out, we will work to eat right outside the front doors. There's some benches there and some chairs, so we'll enjoy that when the weather isn't so nice. Then we go outside for recess. Absolutely love the playground, the soccer field, anything that we can find to keep us fun and healthy and get some exercise in there. Math is always right after lunch and recess. We'll work on some of our facts. We'll work on learning different concepts. We'll have social studies or science after that. Then we have a special in the afternoon, reading, and pack up and dismissal. So let's talk about what our curriculum looks like in third grade. So in third grade, starting with math, math is extremely important in third grade. And the most important thing I would say about math is your fact fluency. We review and continue to review fact fluency, but the most important thing I could say about math is the more fluent you are in your facts, the better you're going to be moving forward. So addition fluency and subtraction fluency are something that I will assess every trimester. We just finished our assessments this week, but we will also continue to assess at the end of every trimester. We also will work on multiplication facts and our division facts. The more you know your multiplication facts, the better you will be at division, so on and so forth. So I like to do something called Facts Friday, probably about 3 or 4 Fridays of the month. And we just sit and spend that Friday practicing our facts. We'll do it different ways. Sometimes we might use our Chromebooks. Sometimes we might go outside with flashcards. Sometimes we might use some games. All depends on what we're up to, what we want to do that day. So fact fluency is definitely important. On that note, this came home recently. This is our nightly fact practice bingo. It's a fun way for the children to work on their facts. This will come home every month, and there are fact cards attached to it. They can focus on, maybe they want to focus on addition for the night. That's fine. Maybe it's multiplication. Maybe they want to challenge themselves with a little bit of division. It's totally up to them. The sheets don't need to come back. The only thing that will need to come back at the beginning of the new month is this bingo board. Okay? All right. Math, moving on. So we start off right away with multiplication and division. Then we move into some place value. We'll talk about measurement. So we'll talk about time. We'll talk about elapsed time. We'll talk about telling time on the clock. We'll do a little bit of addition and subtraction, 3, 4-digit addition and subtraction. We'll talk about rounding numbers to the nearest 10, to the nearest 100, and we'll go up to 4-digit numbers, rounding those. Continuing in on math, we move into fractions. Fractions are so much fun. We'll use some fractions manipulatives to talk about this. We'll get to this probably sometime in March or April, but we'll learn kind of, the different parts of the whole. Then we'll move into some geometry towards the end of the year, dealing with specifically the shapes and what the shapes are and how the shapes are made up. And I think that's it about math. Moving back into ELA. ELA, reading and writing, is a mix. Mentor sentences will go in on there. So we'll have our little mentor sentence notebook. We will talk about our sentence, talk about what makes it an awesome sentence in a mentor text book. The first one that we'll be working on is do unto others. Then we'll talk about what makes a sentence great. We'll go ahead and identify the different parts of speech and their jobs, what those jobs are for those parts of speech. We will come up with we'll revise the sentence, try to make it sound better so we can improve our sentences as we write. And then we'll imitate the sentence. Imitating it is using a totally different topic, but using the same sentence structure. So that's mentor sentences. In writing, we're going to start with working on paragraphs. Sometimes I start with personal narratives, but this year we're going to start with paragraphs. We're going to start with, what is a paragraph? What are the ingredients to a paragraph? What do I need to make a good paragraph? Because by the end of the school year, we'll be writing 3 to 5 paragraph stories. So it's important for the children to know exactly what a paragraph is. So we're going to start off with that. We'll also venture into personal narratives or regular narratives, how-tos, and informational writing. Toward the end of the school year, we will write a research project. We'll have a research project about a country that they'll be able to choose their country with. In reading, the biggest thing I can say about reading is I want to push your children to get out of their comfort zone. My goal is to have them read a variety of different reading genres. So I will start something called First Chapter Fridays, and I'll read the first chapter of a book. And it might be a fiction book. It might be a nonfiction book. Perhaps it's a historical fiction story. Maybe it's a graphic novel. Maybe it's a realistic fiction story. Maybe it's from one of my favorite authors. But my goal is to expose them to a variety of different genres and push them out of their comfort zone to get them to read something different than they're normally used to reading. We also do a lot of nonfiction. We read Scholastic News a lot. We have that. We also have an online component for Scholastic News, but we'll read Scholastic News, get into some current events, learn how to read nonfiction because it's not as easy as reading fiction. We'll talk about text features. We'll do a little text feature project. Those are some different things about reading. In spelling, we are going to follow the same system as Mrs. Nigel did in second grade. We will be learning how to learning different spelling rules, and the children will be able to choose their spelling words for the week. We're going to start off with basic sight words. So second grade, third grade sight words, depending on where the children are. If they're having issues spelling those words, those will be those first words that the children will get for the beginning of their spelling year this year. Then we'll move into different spelling rules, spelling patterns, and so on and so forth. Spelling homework will come home weekly. They'll have like a little tic-tac-toe or a little point system homework that they'll need to do with that. In third grade, we do a mixture of spelling and vocabulary. So sometimes we'll have spelling weeks. Other times we'll have vocabulary weeks where we'll use our vocabulary book instead of spelling for that week. We'll also introduce cursive handwriting in January. We'll get a chance to form letters, capital letters, lowercase letters in the, expose them to different types of cursive handwriting, and then working on creating words after letters, and then writing sentences in cursive. Science, one of the biggest things that I could say that children look forward to in third grade in science has to do with this Oreo cookie. We do something called Oreo stacking, and it starts off our introduction to the scientific method. We actually take a question, how many Oreos do we think we could stack? We go through the entire scientific method with this, and we actually have an Oreo stacking day. We do it safely. We do it with individual Oreos. Everybody brings in their own container of Oreos. We'll sit and stack them COVID style this year, but it's a lot of fun and something that the kids really look forward to. So I'll let you know when we're working on that this year. Also in science, we do energy. We touch base a little bit with electricity. STEM bins. We've already introduced our STEM bins. We have these bins of all different types of things, and right now we're kind of building whatever we want with them. But they will be challenged at some point to build a specific building or something specific to see how they do with that. This year, the science fair is mandatory for third grade. The science fair takes place on March 2nd, 2022. So in January, I will start introducing a timeline of the science fair and telling you a little bit about what has to be completed, how to go about it. But you'll find out more about that in January. In social studies, we started the year already talking about the United States Constitution and celebrating Constitution Day. We learned the preamble to the Constitution, and we learned that the Constitution actually has the rules here for the United States. So from that, we created our own set of classroom rules called our third grade Constitution. We'll also move into government, the three branches of government. We'll talk about citizenships. We'll talk about communities. That's where our research project for writing goes in, about researching about countries, and also included with our Scholastic News. We'll learn more about current events that way. We'll use our Chromebooks. We'll learn how to type with 10 fingers instead of 2. Try to be more fluent with our typing skills as well. Let's see. I think that's about it. So if there's anything you have questions with, anything you need to know from me, one last thing, I totally forgot. The other thing that happens in 3rd grade is the New York State testing assessments. They are held in ELA and in math. So they're 2 separate tests, 2 days each for the most part. Sometime last year they were 1 day, but I think this year they might return to 2 days. The ELA test will be held the end of March this year, and the math test will be held the end of April. Their specific dates are back in this packet. I don't teach to the test, so to speak, in terms of drilling the kids. Okay, here's a test, take this practice test. Here's a test, take this practice test. The way I look at it, from day 1 of 3rd grade, we're learning how to take a test. So one of the big things that we'll do as we walk along our adventure in 3rd grade is learn how to take a test, learn how to answer questions. We've already started that with problem solving in math, looking for keywords, highlighting what we know. We'll do the same thing as we go ahead with ELA. So I think that is about all. If you need me, feel free to touch base with me either through the Remind app or through my Raynor Country Day School email. My contact information is in the packet that was sent home. And I hope you're enjoying 3rd grade, because I definitely am. I look forward to working with you this year. Have a great night.